Toxic. She call me toxic.
Yeah, I bet.
She call me toxic.
So cliche.
Swear I am not shit.
But I'm not though.
She call me toxic cause I won't simp out. Never get phased or react to a big mouth. She call me toxic.
She call me toxic.
She call me toxic.
Oh wow.
If you don't vote for me, are you even black?
Black. Let's go.
Mm.
Let's talk about it. Let's go.
Hey,
Boy.
I
no lie,
and
no,
look
that nigga
and
was
look
the
where we
funniest
at
president
now.
we ever had,
I
bro.
remember
That
seeing
nigga was
people in
clever.
Joe Biden gear from head to toe. And I remember
Okay.
people asking questions like, well, why are you voting for Joe Biden? Or no, what is it about Joe Biden? What is it about Trump? Anybody but Trump. And I, in my, let me see, my 30 some odd years, maybe 20 some odd years of actually understanding
Trump
and
made us
being in the
money, man.
military too, understanding how this whole Joe Biden administration and the look of it and the way things are going affects the world globally and strategically, it is insane. And I'm just wondering where all the people who voted for him at. I ain't heard a peep from nobody.
We ain't even
Nobody,
heard
not
from
on social
Kamala.
media,
People
not
tend not to
in,
speak on their
in no
affairs.
stores, not in workplaces, not nowhere, not about what he's doing right now. But when it was time to get him in office, man, these people run you down and spit in your face. You ain't voting for Joe Biden.
I ain't even seen this man on a church fan.
The first thing he did was cuss out the Black Caucus.
Mhm.
All them people, they said, so when you gonna start delivering on these promises you made on the campaign? He told them, he was like, I don't give a fuck what y'all talking about. Get me Georgia, get me in this office. It's a recorded conversation. Yelling
And
at them old black people.
what's crazy is that when I talk about us actually coming together and having an actual political agenda, shout out to Ice Cube. Ice Cube tried to write a contract with Black America, and he went to the right, he went to the left, tried to meet with them. He caught a lot of flack because Trump actually met with him. The Biden administration told him to wait until after the election. That was 3 years ago, and they have yet to meet with him. I saw a lot of people bashing him because he sat down with Trump,
What
and
people?
I am.
Who people?
It was black people,
Mm-hmm.
and I am in no way a fan of Donald Trump. But my thing is, he being an Ice Cube fan and knowing how he moves and the messaging that he's been putting in his music since the late 80s.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't about political party. It was about, if you want the black vote, here's what we need. Here's what you need to come by, and we're going to hold you accountable. And the left never met with him because they already knew, oh, we got y'all vote already. We don't care. Trump met with him. People called it a publicity stunt or whatever. But my thing was, that right there was a missed moment because, they say, what does this rapper know about politics? Well, okay, so go teach him.
Goddamn, I'm glad y'all set it off.
Where were all these black politicians who they could have looked it over, helped them write a
Yep.
better
Black
draft?
activists. Yep.
Yeah, like where was everybody at?
You don't know what they were
Complaining.
saying in them rooms, and that could have been
Complaining
a
like a
big thing
typical
right
black
there.
person.
Hello.
Complaining.
Hello.
Ice
And
Cube would have been right in that room telling them, hey, you don't need to do this. Here's what we really need. But they're not going to say, like, honestly, I feel like his name escapes me right now, but he played for the Ravens, black guy, spoke with
Ray
Donald Trump.
Lewis.
Ray Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
Ray
Oh,
Lewis.
Coon Lewis.
He sat down with Trump. He sat down. I don't know if y'all remember, they would show these small clips of different black people meeting with Trump before his presidency, and they always showed them walking in or walking out of what I believe was Trump Towers, and
Yep.
it was portrayed as if these people were uh, basically being big to move the black vote to Trump, but because some of these black folk that we saw going in were very prominent. We backed some of them because of what they did in the public eye. Who's to say they weren't back there in that room trying to talk sense into this man, or at least tell him like, "Hey, I get you want to do this because you think it's going to get the black vote, but what we really need is this."
I actually agree with that. Because what's also crazy, I'm not gonna lie, I was one of those people that I hated Trump. I still don't like Trump because I like Trump, but I don't like Trump because Trump, I like he said what he said and he don't care. But the thing that a lot of people didn't get that Trump did for the U.S., Trump ran the U.S. how we supposed to be ran, as a business.
As a business. I was just
I
gonna
give
say
you
that.
that.
He ran us like a business,
That's
like
why I
it
have a problem
is.
with Trump.
He's a business. He was a businessman. He been
He
in
was
this
a businessman. So I said in that aspect, he was perfect for that. Because he got contracts and deals and different shit that we haven't had in a long time. People wondering why we able to get as much money we get right now. We able to do certain things. And at first, I didn't want to believe it was him. I kid you not. I was one of those black people. I was like, Trump ain't do it. Trump ain't nothing but this, that, and the third. But when I actually when I got to the like Bill's was saying, the fine lining of the words, like once I actually went in and read it to the bottom instead of just skimming, I found out I was like, this nigga bad, but he ain't that bad after all.
And like for real, I think only what they portrayed of Trump in the public eye is the only thing everybody had to go on. Because it's coming a shipyard worker who directly benefited from some things that we got a
We still benefiting. Fuck you mean? I go to work. What?
Well, look,
4 hours, man. What the fuck is you talking about?
Look. This is what I'm saying though. We as shipyard workers directly benefited. We got a $500 bonus out the blue in the middle of the fucking year. We was getting overtime like a motherfucker that seemed to come out of nowhere, but it was really because of what he was implementing into the government budget for military weapons and such. Like we benefit. We was eating when Trump was in office. I at first I hated to admit that. I hated to admit it because of course, like most people, I was going off of what was being portrayed, not doing the research. Once the research was done, once everything was seen as much as it could be seen from what I can get.
And see,
he was doing things that he was running the country like y'all said. That's how it should have been done.
That goes back to the fear monger. See, I'm gonna tell y'all, Trump was gonna win that election. Where he messed up at was he messed up handling COVID. When he didn't act on COVID as fast as he should have, and things spiraled out of control, that's where he lost the election. Outside of that, like Trump, I'm not gonna say Trump is not quote unquote racist. What I'm gonna say is Trump is he don't like nobody but him. Honestly, that's what it is. But what he did was the same way that the liberals use black people and they use the emotions of black people to garner votes. He used the emotions of the racist middle American white people to garner votes because he knew that them motherfuckers was going to come out and vote. And that's what he did. So because he propagated that, and it's all fair game because again, the Obama administration made propaganda legal. So because he painted him into like the scum of the earth. And like I said, I am not a fan of the guy, but it more so goes to something different than politics. I'm from Harlem, so the Central Park Five, they actually went to school with my moms. So the things he said about them on national TV during that time is why I don't fuck with him. Yeah, that's where that comes from.
A few things he said and during his campaign is why I don't fuck with him personally. I do not agree with 95% of what he's saying. And the fact that he wasn't reprimanded, when he decided to make fun of a handicapped person with cerebral palsy in front of millions of
Oh
people.
yeah.
Like that stuck
Yeah.
with me. A lot of
Stop.
things stuck with
Stop.
me.
Stop.
A lot of things stuck with me. But the fact that that was allowed to continue, the fact that that was not part of what should have been made part of his campaign to um, that should have been spun as a positive. He should have tried to put that in, publicly apologize, say, hey, we need to make better programs to help these people because at no point in time should I be able to get on stage, make fun of this man, and everybody be on my side because of it. That shit should not have happened. Honestly, Trump did the opposite of what Biden is doing now.
Yeah, but
Trump,
you forgot one of his most famous ones. Grab her by the pussy.
And he won with votes from white women almost unanimously.
Yo, I had a
Crazy,
whole
right?
argument.
Like,
I had a whole argument on Instagram with this chick about that. She tried to say that the Roe v. Wade overturn was because of black men. And I was like, wait a minute.
excuse me,
I
what?
said, I said Planned Parenthood. I went into it. I said that was more so about Planned Parenthood and population control because too many white women are getting, they're terminating their pregnancies. And I was like, you need to look at the
Stepdaddy's
demographic.
trust fund.
You need to look at the demographic of the people who are in these states down south. Look at the demographic of people who are passing these laws, and then look at the demographic who's voting for them. I was like, no, that is a middle-aged white woman problem. That too pushed
Let's go.
for these abortion laws. I was like, middle-aged white women. I said they don't fuck with y'all
And
as
in the
much
Roe
as y'all
versus
think
Wade,
they do.
and in the Roe versus Wade case, the woman that the case was against had her baby. Like, she had the kid. She didn't terminate the pregnancy. And I had that same argument too because they was like, I was like, why are we even as black women in this fight? Like, they was feeding our babies to alligators. Planned Parenthood was actually set up for population control for the black
Black people.
communities. I just saw an article. I mean, not an article, a video on the woman who was behind all of that, who basically said that the number one
Eugenics.
detriment, yeah, the number one detrimental thing to America was basically the continuation and birthing of black people, and it was her life's mission to stop it. So when you talk about Roe versus Wade and overturning it, and who's affected, them white women should have been out there because
Yeah.
now they want y'all to keep having these babies by any means. Because I think it was how often do they do the census? The last census that they did was the first time
10
in
years,
history, every 10 years, the
I
first time
think.
in history that the minority, I guess, population or the I say minority population was higher than the white population, and lo and behold, what
Yeah.
comes swooping in? But it's funny
Yeah.
that they made what was the Justice Clarence Thomas the face of the Roe versus Wade decision. I was like, now something that we all know that they putting in place to preserve the white supremacy and keep white babies being born and stuff like that to probably regenerate their population, that they put a black face on it. He has a white wife, but they put a black face on it, even though all of them had to make that decision, but they put his face on it so he can catch the heat for making that decision. And I'm like, if people don't see these games that they playing it by now, it's crazy, because it's like, what do black people care about keeping or getting rid of our children when they
I can tell you.
literally was getting rid of our children, feeding them to alligators, making them literal bait? Like,
And
they never
making
cared about that.
them shit some goddamn stamps and posters and toys.
I
Postcards.
Piss me
I
off.
can tell you exactly why
Hmm.
many sisters are upset about Roe v. Wade, and it's two things. One, I love y'all, I do, but you can't tell a black woman shit. When you tell a black woman she can't do something, she ready to go to fuck off. So when they turn on the news and they hear you can't get an abortion, which isn't technically true,
Who is you?
I'm just saying that's what they hear. Who the fuck they think they gonna talk to? They gonna take my rights? And then
Who
number
the fuck
two,
is y'all? Don't say
and
y'all.
number,
Say
You and y'all.
and number two, it goes back to the first topic we was on: sexual liberation.
Mhm.
They want to be able to fuck, and have no consequences.
Shout out to Richard.
Right.
And that's why,
Right.
and that's why they are upset because one, they're being told that they can't do something, which technically is not true. Because I've had this discussion with many sisters. I'm like, you, and what was crazy was that November after Roe v. Wade was passed, we had a bunch of state elections. I'm like, yo, you need to pay attention to the state elections because the states are
Yep.
making these laws.
Mhm.
And I'm like, don't argue with me. Go find out who your senator is, who your congressperson is,
Okay.
who works for
Right.
your
But
district.
ain't nobody gonna do that
But
though. Ain't
I
nobody gonna.
will,
Ain't nobody
I
gonna do
will
that though.
say this. I will say this when it comes to the Roe versus Wade thing. It wasn't so much of, the sexual liberation thing too. And I only say this because I just now experienced going through what I did with my son. One thing men have no idea is the pain, the tugging, the irritation, you have no idea. When you get pregnant, you are not in control of you. And you have no idea what that's like. And you can't describe that. And believe it or not, I would love for anyone if they want to have a baby, but to be honest with you, anybody who's not in a good mental state without a child, if you get pregnant, I suggest you terminate it. I
But here's the
suggest
thing:
I
don't get
suggest you.
pregnant.
But here goes the other opposite thing. I also know of some women who've been pregnant from oral. Crazy. Sounds
Yeah,
crazy. Kid you
it can
not.
happen.
Sounds fucking crazy. But you can have oral sex and get pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
She never been penetrated. She never had sex with this man. They just had oral sex and she ended up pregnant. She
I
took
didn't
the
know. I didn't know
precautions.
how.
That's
I
why
never
I
heard
say
of
she
that.
took the precautions. She took the steps. Because she even knew herself. She was like, I don't want a baby. I don't want to get pregnant. I'm not ready to have sex. I do want to feel a little bit of pleasure,
I
but
didn't
I
even
know
know how
I'm
that
not
went
ready for
down.
that responsibility. But
Somebody's lying.
unfortunately, she had to end up with that responsibility without even being fucking penetrated. That fucking sucks as a woman. Y'all have no idea. We can get pregnant by the slightest fucking things. You think penetration is just the only way we can get pregnant?
Nah, I don't know about that oral sex, man. I need to see
I need
that
to know
in,
how
in,
that
a, in
went
a
down.
I
I
scientific
need
gotta
to
study.
know.
know. Actually.
That's some look. That's some Itachi
What?
level jutsu. You know what I'm
For,
saying?
for
That's
us,
some Itachi level jutsu
for
right
us
there.
men, for
That's
us men,
Tsukuyomi if I
He
ever
might
heard.
not be human,
for us
goddamn
men, when it
it.
comes to
That's
anything
some
dealing
weird
with
shit. That's
pregnancy,
what?
when it comes to anything dealing with women's rights to procreate, we shouldn't have too much to say. And
Right.
as a man, I'm getting a little bit my personal history with this. As a man that had the mother of my child, and she had a lot of things that caused her, from what she described and what I could see, uh, 10 times more pain than the average woman because of what with her back and having the what's the epidural
Epidural.
that caused even more pain because of
Yeah,
her situation with her back. And seeing how that was handled and knowing how much pain she was already in just from the childbirth, not even adding on to the back situation, we as men don't have anything we can even compare to when
but
it comes to
see,
pregnancy and child.
bro, I hear you, but
And
here's the thing.
that's one thing that we as men should not even speak on too much about because there's really nothing we can get our arm chopped off,
That's
clean off,
That's
nothing.
and
that's
we ain't even gonna have a third of any idea of what women gonna go through pushing an entire child through their uterus. We're not going to.
Not
We're
only
not.
that,
but
when that baby started growing in your heart and
Right.
here's
you can
it.
feel that baby kicking on your heart. I had lupus and had to go through pregnancy.
Mm-hmm.
And I kid you not, that my second, I didn't experience my first pregnancy because I didn't find out about my son until I was 8 months. My first son. But this one, I'd never want to go through pregnancy again. But I enjoy sex, but I don't want to have a baby. I don't. For the love of God, I do not want to be pregnant again. I do not want my body, my mind, nothing to experience anything like that ever again. And I kept telling myself at first, I was like, I wonder what it's like to be pregnant. It's crazy because I already had a child, but I was like, I didn't experience pregnancy with my first child, so I'm thinking it's gonna be the same the second go around. Hell no.
Nah,
No,
not every
different.
pregnancy is the same. And here's the thing though, bro, I hear what you're saying, but this is the problem with that. And a lot of women don't they don't want to believe it, but nothing gets done in this country unless we say so. So if we don't say shit, nothing's gonna get done. Now, in terms of the actual pregnancy, that's a whole nother situation because black women and what they go through in the medical industry, that with them not being heard, with
That's a whole
the
story in this thing. That's a
stereotype
whole
of
nother topic.
them what's the name, and and the epidural technically is not natural.
No, it's not natural, but it is something that can give a whole lot of comfort. And
Wrong.
truth be told,
You want to know
What's
why?
I had an allergic reaction. It felt
You
I ain't never had crack in my life, but you know how crackheads be like this.
look, bro, you want to know why it's like that? Because technically, the way that the woman is in the hospital bed when she gives birth in the hospital is not
It's
natural.
not supposed to be laying down.
mm-hmm.
You're not supposed to be
Thank
laying
you.
down.
It's
You're going
not
against gravity.
natural.
If you go back into like that's why I study black people. When you go back in time, they were squatting. They were
Let's
squatting.
go.
They was
Let's
not.
go.
They was.
Squatting
Let's
chair.
go.
They was
Let's
not.
go.
They was. They was not laying down taking shots in the back. They had different diets. You know what I'm saying? Like they're not eating hot wings and stuff because they're craving it. They're
One no,
eating
one no
grits.
such
You know what I'm
thing
saying?
as
A lot of
postpartum depression.
uh,
Now,
postpartum, yeah, like a
here's
lot of
another thing. Here's another thing to give you pushback on, bro. Now, you said the things that women go through during pregnancy, right? There's dangers in it, of course. We all know that.
course.
Let me ask you, son. If you wanted to go into the military, you have to go get a physical, right?
Right.
You have to talk to your doctor and see if any underlying health issues you have can affect your performance, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
How many women you know have a good relationship with their PCP or gynecologist? Not many.
You
Not
got
me.
a point. You got a, and as a woman, you got a
Not many.
fucking point. It is not. It's
And
the women that
that's
take
the
you like
thing.
back to front.
That's where, see, we have to start holding people accountable. So, case in point,
Right.
if a woman knows I may have some health, that may be where you say, I don't want to get pregnant, but I want to be a mom. Adoption may be an option. Surrogates may be an option.
With that being
I'm
said,
about to put a curveball. It's not always that way because I didn't get diagnosed with lupus until years later. So even if I would have got tested as younger, and I have a really good relationship with my PCP, my gynecologist, my
They
GI,
wouldn't have found it.
and
It wouldn't have been there.
it wouldn't have been there. So you can't really say that as like a main factor because even as a man, you get different diagnoses and different stuff. And also with pregnancy, I was never allergic to bananas. I
Yeah,
love
pregnancy causes
Oh
issues.
yeah. Nah, your body changes
I
during
can't touch
pregnancy,
a banana if I want
but
to. But yeah, but
your
that's why I
body
say
changes.
you can't really say get tested, see if it's stuff that's gonna be along the line to stop you from wanting to get pregnant or have surrogacy. Because like I said, some of that stuff might not even show up until years. Like I didn't like I said, I didn't got I see him rapidly all my life. I didn't get diagnosed until I was 27. I had my first child at 23.
Okay.
So touchy. Okay. In my
Yeah,
opinion,
and I agree with
it's very
that
touchy.
because lupus is different, but there
And other
are
diagnoses:
many
ADHD, autism, uh, 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 uh,
family
uh,
history.
Yep. But also, like he said, with if you don't know Black medical history, a lot of Black people don't know to get checked. If you have if your blood and your child's blood is different, you need to get a shot because it can cause you to get very sick during pregnancy. But a lot of black women
Like,
don't know that because, as you said, they're not up to date with their people.
yeah, like when it like I don't know if I'm really gonna get touched in this feeling because this subject because I look at shit at different perspectives of a lot of shit, especially when it comes to health. You know what I'm saying? Like and health in general, a lot of reasons why we even go through health problems is because of the way we eat, exercise. Niggas in front of TVs and phones all fucking day. And shit. You feel what I'm saying? You might not think it affects you, but it affects a lot. It definitely will affect your pregnancy. You feel what I'm saying? Like if you not, if you eat, if your diet consists of more animal flesh and starches than it does vegetables and fruit, you're gonna have problems. You're gonna have problems when you're pregnant. You're going to have diseases. You're going to have all this stuff because all that shit causes diseases. You know what I'm saying? Starch in flesh causes diseases. It's called mucus. That's how mucus get in your body from eating flesh and stuff like that. So my thing would be if you're pregnant, just change your diet because long as you know what I'm saying. Because if you're healthy, the baby's healthy.
Hate to hit
You
you
know what
with
I'm
another
saying?
thing again. During pregnancy, you can't always eat healthy because sometimes you can eat.
Nah, them cravings be
Hold on.
crazy.
No, it's not just sometimes too many carbohydrates can cause the baby to get dehydrated or be overly hydrated. Sometimes, if you have too much starch or too much protein, it could cause the baby to lose weight or become anemic. If you eat too much of red dye, or if you eat too much fish, or if you eat too much chicken, or if you eat too much turkey, or if you do this or you do that, it can fuck up a lot of stuff. I kid you not.
And that's what I was saying
My
with the
pregnancy and
flesh
my
and the
dad came
starches.
a whole bunch of shit.
I
And
saw
see,
it.
That's what I was saying.
that's why my thing is being more preventative and proactive than reactive. So
Very,
Right.
very.
don't start, because when a woman goes through pregnancy, her body changes like crazy. I was there every step of the way when my BM was pregnant.
I remember your stress level.
The hormones and all of that, like, and it men get hormone imbalances and everything too during the pregnancy.
And
Like it's really nature and accountability and choices. If
Exactly.
you if you have the mentality of I don't know if I want to go through with a pregnancy, take the preventive measures to not get pregnant.
And the only thing
It,
100% is no sex.
yeah.
that's
No,
That
no
yeah,
none,
that's
So
oral
true.
or
it's gonna be like
otherwise.
so it's gonna be
That
like
Oral or otherwise. But people, we're not, we're
if
not.
for a man to be like, I'm sorry, I can't have sex because if I have sex, I could become pregnant because birth control is not 100%, condom is not 100%, so
Nope.
the only thing that's 100% is abstinence. So it's gonna be a lot of single females, and what y'all gonna do? Fuck a guy? See, that's the question.
no,
But the
That's
thing
the
is
no,
too, when they made proposals about male birth control, generally
yeah.
speaking, men were in an uproar. We don't know what it's going to do to our bodies. We don't know how it's going to react. And
nah,
I remember seeing this, and then I remember thinking to myself, well, what do they
What?
think it do to us when
nah.
we gain weight,
They
when we
took a
break out?
poll. They took a poll. Like 96% of men that they asked said that they would be cool with taking a pill.
All I know is the reactions that I saw was contrary to like because like women lose their hair, so of course men worried about balding. All the things that affect women.
But
They was
I
like,
ain't
no,
worried about
y'all
bald.
carry
I
the
got those
kids,
kids.
so y'all need to take all the preventive measures when they plant the seed and stuff like that. It is absolutely crazy. Like a lot.
Like
That was
if
what I saw was the complete opposite. I don't know if it was maybe who I follow, but I was looking at and stuff like that. But they was like, why
yeah,
should we have to
like
do that? The women already do it. Like
But here's my question.
and birth
If,
control is wild too because that shit is not natural and it definitely messes up your
I
bodies.
definitely think we should go back to everything being
Yep.
as natural as possible. I just watched my sister this week.
very.
My niece just turned 4 weeks this past week on Tuesday. And she did a
Congratulations.
completely thank you, Auntie again. She had a completely natural birth. My sister went into labor the day before, which was that Monday, went to the birthing center, had a water birth. 2 hours later, we was home with the baby.
Wow.
No, nothing. Like she went back the next day. I was with her, just so she could get checked out and everything healed back to how it naturally was supposed to be. And I know like this is not the case for some women, but for her, I was blown away by
That's amazing.
how soon it happened. And when we talk about natural births, there was a time where black women as doulas and wives and stuff was giving birth to everybody's baby in the city with no medical treatment for real, no medical experience for real.
Just hot water and
Just
towels.
tribal knowledge, hot waters, towels, and a group of women. There's a tribe in Africa where anytime anybody has a baby, all the women come to take care of the other kids if there are other children, and they're with her until she's back on her feet and able to get back to handling her household, which definitely decreases postpartum depression because sometimes women be in relationships where men are like, well, I need you too. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you gonna cook, when you gonna clean, you just consume with the baby. It's all these things and all these demands that are on women here that we used to not have. And I did a little research because my sister was saying she wanted to be a midwife and a doula. And I was wondering, well, what happened to that? Because it seemed like a practice that's coming back into play very heavy.
Yeah.
And of course, I asked, well, what happened to it in the first place? That's always my question.
What happened? What happened is they found
banned
out
it.
about about the placenta, and they would
About the
take that's why they
placenta.
want you to go to the hospital because of the placenta carries
And
a lot
they
of
don't want you. They don't want you to keep it.
Yeah, they don't want you to keep it, and then if you try to keep it, you got to pay. You got to pay stacks, bro.
But
they
not just the placenta.
dance.
My sister got hers, and my sister
I
got hers,
got
and she was gonna
my
get it
first pregnancy.
encapsulated, and it's worth it for us. But another thing was you got what is it? What have you said? Gynecology practitioners.
Gynecologist.
Yeah, they were losing white babies. Let's be clear, left and right. So here you are with all the technology, because black people really didn't have access to hospitals. They didn't let us have access to the latest technology in medical care and things like that at that time. You got old women out in shacks birthing babies and not losing damn baby, a damn mother for centuries over all this time. But you got white people trying to keep us out of this medical field, and they losing babies and don't know what to do. So what they do, they look over in the black community. That's why I always get concerned when white people seem to be overly concerned with what black people got going on. It's always an agenda.
I say that.
And they banned doulas, and they told them they convinced other white people, which makes no sense to me because I'm like, y'all don't care about black people as a whole, so why y'all care about how we birthing our babies and who's doing what? Oh, it's unsanitary. The children could lose their lives. Mind you, like I said before, these are the same babies y'all would kidnap and feed to alligators, but all of a sudden y'all so concerned about them being born and being sanitary and being cared for in the safety of the mothers in the medical field that ignores us anyway, but that's neither here nor there. So basically, they made the black women who were the doulas and birthing these babies and stuff have to get certified. And so, of course, you would think, oh, they got to get certified, so they're going to teach them proper ways to have babies. No, they took the ways that they had babies and what they were doing and their success rate and vitality rate with mothers and children and incorporated it into their own medical field. So they basically wiped out doulas and midwives, because if you were practicing without a license and without being certified by the state or the city, you were arrested or you were fined. So doulas and midwives practically went away. And then we went into, getting the epidurals, the unnatural births, all the stuff that the hospital designates that you're supposed to have, the white hospitals designate, or white medicine designates you're supposed to have, which isn't compatible with us at all. So now we're going back to that. Now you got more midwives, you got more doulas, you got more women practicing or finding out more about natural birthing methods and things like that. Things that are easier for the mother, things that are better for the baby. And you can have somebody have a baby and go home in 2 hours. Yep. Instead of racking up an $80,000 hospital bill.
I kid you. The people who delivered my recent son, number one, I had to get induced. She pierced my placenta. So unfortunately, I was not able to keep my placenta. She had the nerve to look at me and my man and say, "Oh, that's the first time that's ever happened to me since I've been." Bitch, what? This is why I don't trust you, white nurses. Now, this is why I don't trust you, people.
And this is why I want to say this too, because of what y'all have just discussed and in your own experiences.
The body does.
And this also kind of touches on what Sean said earlier about how things don't happen if men don't speak up on it. A lot of people, when they hear that type of thing, they try and look at it as a negative, as a man is going to be the full say so of what things are going to go, how things are going to go. And I want to say that in the more proactive response to that, sometimes a man needs to be there to make sure nothing negative happens. And I say that from my experience with my child's mother. I did have to put on that, for lack of a better term. I had to no, not even lack of a better term. I think this is a good term. I had to put on that African king crown and make my presence be felt in that room when she said, I don't know if it's supposed to go like this. And I
But what
stood up and said, if this woman is uncomfortable, I need y'all to change how y'all are going about this whole thing.
But what
And
people
when
gotta
that
understand, that's how it's supposed to be.
it is,
That's what we come from.
that's
That
how
is
it's
what we
supposed to
come
be.
from.
And
That's
and
how
Yeah,
we're supposed to be. That's how we're supposed
yeah.
to run. And that's why they separated or they work to separate us so much. Because naturally for us, that's how it's supposed to go. When
and
people talk about the African culture being originally matriarchal, they think, oh, they just worship women. In a way, they did, but it was because black women were the vessel, literally bringing people from the spirit world into the physical world, and
right.
they reverenced them in that fact. But everybody still had their role. So now, when you come over here to Western civilization, when you have a family union, is the strongest unit of society, a family, right? If you know what kind of stock we come from, and even though we were brought over here, you still have very strong family units. You can build anything from that. So that's the one thing they always try to attack and separate. So,
Mm.
you advocating for your child's mother, you weren't stepping into nothing. That's what you are. That's what you're
Right.
supposed to do. That's how it's supposed to be. That is natural. Now it seems unnatural because we got all these movements and things, telling women that we supposed to do this, telling men that y'all supposed to do that.
And
Oh,
that's
your
my
woman
point.
get out of line, you need to do this. You're above her
But
when
see,
it
it's
wasn't
And
ever
it's
like
it's
that for us.
I better say
that's
because
why
I
I
think
wanted to
God really got on
it's
the
it's
nerves
kind
of
of
me too.
hard to be a natural male leader in a society where women are more masculine than the men that they're approaching.
But see
You
that
understand
right
what I'm
there,
saying? Like,
that right there,
cause
that right
like
there,
I
that
can't
right
like
there
for
alone.
one, if my girl, I ain't got no kids, but if my girl's pregnant, I'm with her the whole pregnancy because not every decision you gonna make gonna be a smart decision because you gonna be listening to the doctor. If you ain't there, you listen to the doctor the whole time. You know what I'm saying? Of course you're not gonna.
That,
I don't know.
that's
I don't
exactly
know. You know what I'm
that's
saying? But
exactly that's exactly why I wanted to say this,
Y'all just
because
got homework.
I want this message to be put out there to a lot of the fathers and a lot of the men who are being put in the positions to become a father where they don't know where they need to stand. Us as men need to stand and be in control of that room while that woman is giving birth, because
Facts.
for several reasons. For one, she's not going to be in the 100% mind state that she should be to protect herself. We are supposed to step in for that. The doctors are going to speak on what they know, scientific views and what they study, but they are not going to be able to speak on the comfortability, the health, the real health of what a woman is going through at that time. They're only going to know their training. We, as that father to that child, that companion to that woman giving birth to that child, we know when she is or isn't uncomfortable, when something is or isn't going right without them having to say a word. And we need to be able to stand up and feel 100% comfortable. You might not, matter of fact, might not even feel comfortable, but you need to be that king. You need to stand up in that room and say, hey, stop everything y'all doing. Here's what needs to be addressed. Make sure this is right. And if it is not right, I'm going to tear this motherfucking room up. That's how it needs to
Facts.
go. And
I kid you not.
a lot of men now
You
do
go,
not
bro.
feel that way because they are worried on how things may be perceived. They might not have that, what I like to call, that lion voice within them, that strength
Because
within their heart
they
and mind.
pussy. That's
It's
why.
mirror cub.
So
I'm
to
just about to say that shit, bro. I'm like, these niggas is pussy,
I'm gonna
bro.
take the entire situation
Niggas
and
is
I'm gonna
non-confrontational like a motherfucker, my nigga. Niggas
y'all
scared of
gonna sit there.
confrontation, like.
Y'all gonna do what the fuck I say in this situation, because this is my child coming in here, and this is, whether it is or ain't, this is my woman right now. I need her to be 100% control of is that
Say
she
whether it
has
is
my
or it ain't.
child coming in here.
I
It
know
ain't
that's
gonna be
right.
a fucking problem. A lot of
Nah,
men
that's
don't
facts.
stand up and do that. A lot of men don't have that that inner that inner that inner conqueror. They don't have that
I
inner
agree.
He
independent.
said,
He
And
understands.
I agree.
I like this. This is how
100%.
I'm sorry,
and on
listen to
that
shit
note,
about women
you know
right now.
what?
She may or may not be, but for right now, she.
And on that note, I don't think anything else needs to be said. We gonna mic drop. On that note, this has been Sue Me Later. I might actually cut this up into 2 episodes. I'm gonna let y'all know this
Yeah,
right
this
now.
one is good. Yeah, this one. Yeah.
I'm your host, the
I
villain
enjoyed
with
this
the
one. I
most,
really enjoyed this one.
Sean Bills. This has been Sue Me Later. Everybody's socials will be in the description. We'll catch y'all next time.
Yes, sir. Alpha G vibing out. Feel me?